What if I told you some connections don't make sense, but you feel them anyway? Two people acting normal, but feeling something they can't explain. No clear reason, no clear label, just something real, quietly there. Not because it's obvious, but because it's too real to ignore. Some connections don't start with clarity, they start with a feeling, something subtle, something unspoken. You don't understand it, but you notice it. In the way things feel different, in the way moments carry more weight, in the way silence doesn't feel empty, it feels comfortable, almost familiar, like something you've known before but can't name. And that's where the conflict begins. Because nothing is clear, nothing is defined, but something is there. You feel it, even when you try not to, even when you tell yourself it's nothing. It doesn't go away because it's not based on logic. It's not something you can explain. It's not something you can point to and say, this is why. It just exists, quietly, between you, in the way you notice each other, in the way your energy shifts, in the way small moments feel bigger than they should. And they feel it too, without saying it, without confirming it, just like you. And that's what makes it real. Because it's mutual, even if it's unspoken, even if it's undefined. It's not logic. It's a feeling that doesn't need explanation, because when something is real, it doesn't always make sense, but it shows in the smallest ways, in the quietest moments, in things you don't even try to do. And even without understanding it, you can feel it clearly. And there are two things that quietly reveal this kind of connection. Number one, they naturally tune into you. The first sign doesn't need words. It happens before anything is said. They just feel you in ways that don't make sense, in ways you can't explain. You don't have to tell them how you are. You don't have to explain what's wrong. You don't even have to show it clearly. And still, they notice. A small shift in your tone, a slight change in your energy, a moment of silence that lasts a second too long, and somehow they pick it up, without asking, without needing confirmation. They just know, and they respond, naturally, without making it obvious. They slow down when you seem off. They stay a little longer when you go quiet. They soften when something feels different about you, not because you told them to, but because they felt it. And that's what makes it different. Because this isn't effort, it's instinct. It's not something they try to do, it just happens. Like your presence automatically matters. You notice it over time, the way they adjust to you, the way they match your energy, the way they seem in sync without trying. It feels easy, effortless, almost natural, like you don't have to be understood, you already are. And that kind of understanding is rare, because most people need words. Most people need explanations. Most people need clarity. But here, you don't, because something deeper is happening. Something unspoken. Something that doesn't need to be said. They understand you without you having to say much, and that creates a different kind of closeness. Not loud, not obvious, but real. Because it's built on feeling, not explanation. And that feeling keeps showing up. In small ways, in quiet moments, in things most people wouldn't even notice. They notice when you pull back. They notice when you're not fully present. They notice when something feels off, even slightly. And instead of ignoring it, they adjust. Without asking questions, without making you explain yourself, they just meet you where you are. And you do the same. Without realizing, you start to feel them too. Their energy, their mood, their quiet shifts. And suddenly, it's not one-sided. It's mutual. A silent understanding, an unspoken alignment, where both of you are aware without needing to say anything. And that's where it becomes something deeper. Because this isn't something you learn. It's not something you practice. It's not something you can fake. It either exists or it doesn't. And here, it does. Naturally, without effort, without explanation. And maybe that's why it feels so strong, because it's not built on words, it's built on feeling, pure, unfiltered, instinctive. And that's something you can't force. You can't teach it. You can't create it artificially. It just happens between the right people at the right time, without warning. And once it's there, you feel it in everything, in the way they respond, in the way they stay, in the way they understand you, even in silence. Because in the end, the way they feel you can't be taught. Number 2, moments feel more intense than they should. The second sign is harder to explain, because nothing looks different, but everything feels different. Simple moments carry weight. Conversations that should feel normal don't. They feel deeper, heavier, more meaningful than they have any reason to be. You could be talking about anything, something small, something random, something that doesn't matter. But with them, it feels like it does. Like there's something behind it, something unspoken, something you both feel, but don't name. And that feeling changes everything. You start to notice it, how time slows down around them, how moments last longer than they should, how leaving feels harder for no clear reason. Because it's not just the moment, it's the energy inside it, that quiet intensity, that subtle pull, that feeling that something more is there, even if nothing is happening. And you both feel it, even if you don't understand it, even if you don't talk about it, even if you try to ignore it, it's there, in the pauses, in the silences that don't feel empty, in the moments where no one speaks, but everything feels full. Like something is sitting between you, something real, something waiting. There are moments where it almost becomes clear, a look that lasts too long, a sentence that almost turns into something honest, a pause that feels like it's about to break. And for a second, it feels like everything is about to shift. Like this is the moment, the one where something finally becomes real. But then, it doesn't happen. One of you pulls back, changes the tone, moves the conversation, keeps it light. And just like that, the moment passes. But the feeling doesn't. It stays, lingering, quietly. Because even though nothing was said, everything was felt. And that's what makes it powerful. Because it's not about what's happening, it's about what's almost happening. Again and again and again. Moments that build, moments that rise, moments that feel like they're about to turn into something more, but never do. And over time, those moments start to mean something, because they're not random. They're not accidental. They happen because something is there. Something both of you feel, but don't fully understand. And maybe that's why it feels so intense. Because it's not defined, it's not clear, it's not controlled. It just exists, in between everything, in the space where things feel normal, but aren't. And that creates tension. Not loud, not dramatic, but constant. It lives in the way conversations linger, in the way you hesitate before speaking, in the way both of you hold back just enough, because you're aware that something is there, aware that crossing a certain point changes everything. So instead, you stay right before it, close enough to feel it, close enough to almost reach it, but never close enough to fully step into it. And that's what keeps it alive. That space, that distance, that almost. Because once it becomes real, it becomes vulnerable. It becomes something that can change, something that can break. So you protect it. Without even saying it, you keep it where it is, in that quiet intensity, in those moments that feel too deep for what they are. And maybe that's the truth. It doesn't look like much, but it feels like everything. And maybe that's the quiet truth. You don't understand it, but you feel it. And that feeling doesn't go away. It doesn't need reasons. It doesn't need clarity. It doesn't need proof, because it exists, with or without explanation. And that's the contrast. Something you can't explain, but can't ignore. You try to make sense of it. You look for logic. You search for answers. You try to define what it is, but it never fully fits, because it's not meant to. It's not something you figure out. It's something you experience, something you feel in moments that don't make sense, in connections that don't follow rules, in emotions that show up without asking permission. And the more you try to understand it, the clearer one thing becomes. It's real, not because you can explain it, but because you can feel it. In every interaction, in every silence, in every moment that feels heavier than it should. And that realization changes everything. Because now, you can't pretend it's nothing. You can't ignore what keeps showing up. You can't dismiss what feels this strong, even without words, even without definition, even without understanding. Because some things don't exist in logic, they exist in feeling. And this is one of them. You can't explain it, but you can't ignore it. And maybe some connections aren't meant to be understood, just felt, not analyzed, not defined, not forced into meaning, just experienced, in the quiet, in the subtle, in the moments that don't need to be explained. And maybe that's enough, or maybe it isn't. Because the real question is, if you both feel it, how long can you pretend it's nothing?